Republicans and Bernie supporters alike have a long history of hating Hillary Clinton. Republicans think she's a liar who deserves to be prosecuted for her time as Secretary of State, and Bernie bros think she's a moderate Republican on her good days, and on some days, as Bernie Sanders would say, she's a progressive. But I like Hillary Clinton. I adore Hillary Clinton, actually. She has my vote for president, and I'm going to explain why she should have yours too on today's Liberal News.
I'm getting ready to do something too. I'm running for president.
Bing, bing, bong.
Even today, there are those who are trying to silence our words.
Hillary Clinton is a strong, formidable, caring woman who has championed women's rights for her entire life. She's been a strong proponent of universal health care and early childhood education. As First Lady, she was put in charge of President Clinton's healthcare task force, and while it came up short in putting together legislation, the task force commended the First Lady's dedication and passion for the cause. She changed what it meant to be First Lady of the United States. No longer relegated to the recesses of party planning and floral arrangements like First Ladies of yesteryear, Hillary Clinton actually played an active role in her husband's administration, which set a tone for future First Ladies. Hillary was an outspoken advocate for women's rights in Beijing when the First Lady went to China to speak to the UN's 4th World Conference of Women's Plenary Session. In a landscape where women had absolutely no leadership opportunities in the government, and in a country where media outlets are controlled and censored by the government, Hillary spoke up for the disenfranchised Chinese women, and for women around the world when she spoke the now famous phrase, "Women's rights are human rights, and human rights are women's rights." No one can deny that Hillary Clinton has consistently fought for and protected women's rights. She is an outspoken advocate for women's rights to choose. She has protected Planned Parenthood and even earned their endorsement in the 2016 cycle, the first time Planned Parenthood has ever endorsed a candidate since its inception. After her time as First Lady, Hillary successfully ran for the United States Senate for New York. She was labeled as the second most liberal senator for her entire tenure in the Senate, behind only Senator Bernie Sanders, who was still an independent and had no party loyalty. She fought tirelessly for gun control, immigration reform, early childhood care and education, and stood strong in New York City on 9/11, working to protect first responders and make sure they had the care they needed. When presented with information from President Bush, Donald Rumsfeld, and Colin Powell that there was undeniable proof of WMDs in Iraq, Hillary Clinton made the right decision, putting aside her general apprehension for war to make sure America was safe. She knew diplomacy hardly, if ever, works with terrorists. She trusted the Republican president's intelligence and made the right decision under the circumstances when she voted yes on the Iraq War. When it became evident that President Bush had lied, Hillary Clinton disavowed her vote on the Iraq War, calling it the biggest mistake of her career. But I'd like to make the argument that her vote on the Iraq War was the right choice. Under the circumstances, a president and a secretary of state telling you there is undeniable proof of weapons of mass destruction, after a massive terrorist attack in your own backyard, after hard pressure from Americans left and right wing, Hillary cast her vote in favor of intervention in Iraq. After a terror attack, it was time for America to stand strong and send a strong message. So Hillary gave her speech in support for the president's plan, as most senators should have. She had no reason to believe the president was lying at the time, and I firmly believe she made the best decision under the circumstances. She had America's best intentions at heart, and was trying to do her job and keep us safe and work with the president, which is how Congress is supposed to work, while Bernie Sanders voted against the war. He was more concerned about his anti-war stance and his public persona than the safety of the American people. These other Democratic senators, voted for the Iraq War as well, and they were right to do so. Of course, we know now that Bush and Powell and Rumsfeld were lying through their teeth, and every Democrat who voted for the Iraq War has consistently disavowed that vote, and we should believe that they are disavowing it. We should get over it. We should accept their apology and understand why they did it in the first place. Hillary ran for president in 2008 and continued her message of populism, women's rights, childhood care and education, universal health care, and she did a tremendous job. She carried 21 states and some territories, even winning the popular vote over Barack Obama, but the better candidate won. Even after a bitter campaign of personal attacks and lost hopes, Hillary put aside her differences with President Obama and endorsed him to unite the primary. She gave an impassioned speech about taking back the White House after 8 disastrous years of George W. Bush and vowed to do her best to propel Senator Obama to the White House. And she did just that. She campaigned hard, she united the party, and we elected President Obama. He appointed her Secretary of State, and after careful deliberation, she accepted. She was a commendable Secretary of State, traveling to more countries and more miles than anyone before her. She was able to get a meeting between Israel and Palestine. She was able to negotiate countless deals with leaders around the world. She helped reestablish America's position in the international community after Bush's deplorable diplomacy from Condoleezza Rice. She helped overthrow Gaddafi in Libya. She sat with and advised the president on the raid that successfully killed Osama bin Laden. She made her mistakes, as people do. She used a private email server, as her predecessors had, and was able to do so under State Department regulations, and she had one embassy attack in Benghazi under her watch. But in response, she remained strong in the face of consistent Republican politically charged interrogations and investigations into her practices as Secretary of State, even as they all held her as a tremendous secretary. Her public opinion numbers hit astronomical career-high numbers, and the Republicans used the Benghazi hearings and the so-called email scandal to their advantage. But Hillary never faltered. She sat through 11 hours of testimony for the 3rd or 4th time before Congress when they continued asking her the same questions over and over again that she had already answered and have already become non-issues. She sat there and she took it in stride and she came out on top. In fact, that's when she won me back after a month or so of feeling the burn. Hillary proved she could be diplomatic and presidential once more. Hillary Clinton has a long career of progressivism, as proven by the issues she has championed, the votes she has cast, the speeches she has given, and the people she has touched with her work. Hillary Clinton is an admirable woman who, despite everything people have been throwing at her for her entire life, continues to devote herself to the greater good. She is a strong diplomat with great foreign policy ideas and connections. She knows to use diplomacy for all international matters, but isn't afraid to make the tough calls when the need be. She knows how to get things done. She passed countless amendments and bills in her time in the Senate. She can unite the Democratic Party in the face of working with her rival, and yet still work hard for him and prove herself a person who believes that the greater good of the country is better than her personal beliefs and opinions. She is the best candidate to help America continue the legacy of President Obama. She spent 4 years working hand in hand with him, while Senator Sanders has been spending 8 years criticizing him. She will continue to uphold the Affordable Care Act, to help amend it and make it even better, while Senator Sanders wants to repeal it and start over. She will fight hard for immigration reform, as she did in 2007 when Bernie Sanders voted to block a bipartisan immigration bill. She will stand up to the NRA like President Obama has done in recent years, while Senator Sanders continues to be opposed to most gun reform measures. She stands poised to do the most for police brutality reforms and measures, as 94% of the African American leadership in Congress have endorsed her to become the Democratic nominee and the next president of the United States. I believe we need a president who can continue on the progress we have made in the Obama administration. We need a president who can unite the country against Donald Trump and other Republicans. We need a Democrat in office who can appoint new Supreme Court justices when the 3 nearing retirement age step down. We need a president who will protect the rights of the LGBT community. We need a president who will promote transgender rights. We need a president who has the courage to stand up to the NRA and finally end this gun epidemic we have in our country. We need a president who will work hard to reform our terrible immigration system while granting citizenship to those who are here illegally. We need a president who will work hard to get us to universal health coverage. We need a president who will strengthen the middle class and continue President Obama's trend of consistent job and economy growth. We need a president who can propose realistic policies that she can actually deliver upon in a Republican-controlled Congress and not just promise liberal pipe dream plans that will realistically never work. I know that the person best poised to do all of that and win in November is Hillary Diane Rodham Clinton, and she has my vote, and she should have yours. She has proven time and again that she is working hard for the American people, not the super PACs and Wall Street executives that donate to her campaign. She can't be bought and hasn't been bought in the past. She is a strong, hard-working, inspirational woman, and we should be so lucky to have her as our president. She makes the Republicans quake in their boots, and that's just what we need. She is strong enough to take down Donald Trump and stand up for what is right. She is Hillary Clinton, and she is the next president of the United States.